Hello everyone and welcome to Skippy RC. This video I'm going to build the chassis for the Tamiya BT-01. Okay, so at the end of step 2, which is actually step 3 in the book because step 1 is charging the battery, and have the spur gear mounted with the longer shaft for the front rear configuration. Okay, here's the motor installed. Once again, use the cap head screws. Nice layer of grease on the spur gear, using the RC Kex method of actually using a paintbrush, wherever the paintbrush is, oh there it is, to put the grease on nice and evenly. Which is something that when I first seen on his channel with him doing, I honestly thought it was a bit pedantic, but the more I think about it, the more I like it. So this is the first kit I'm actually giving it a try on and see how it turns out. Alright, on to the next step. Okay, so here's the gearbox complete. Got the spring-loaded outdrive, which you've got to press that in a bit, make sure the shaft clears it, so to get that retainer on, and then the retainer is a bit tighter than the other one, because it's the harder plastic. But once it all goes on, it's very secure, and that's not coming off. I've got all mounted now with all the hex hardware. So I think that's the center gearbox done. Time to mount it into the chassis. Okay, so starting to put the diff together. Got grease on the little cross pin, so that the gears actually have grease between the pin and the gears on the inside there. The same with the gears here on the outside. Just painted on some grease there so that the gears have got some grease behind it. Even though you put plenty of grease in here, there's no guarantee it'll get behind those parts. See, the gear's already in there. It does have the grease behind it, even though you can't see it, but it's there. Alright, on to the next step. Okay, here's the diff all built up. Once again, used machine thread cap head screws that I had for another project. I didn't realise they were the same size. So, it looks very nice. We've all been black. And the gears spin beautifully in there. One thing important to do, make sure you do these screws evenly. I took them down so they were just stopping, backed them off a quarter of a turn each, and made sure they're all seated equal, then just slowly did each one half a turn, or to a turn until it felt like it was starting to touch the plastic, and went around, crossed over, until they're all nice and tight. Alright, on to the next step. Okay, and here's the diff casing, I guess you'd call it, done. Interestingly, when I was putting it together, this shaft here seemed to have a heck of a lot of play. I was really worried about it, but once you put the clip on and screw it together, there's very minimal play there. So that's one thing I don't have to worry about. Once again, machine screws. Okay, that's the top arms on the front installed. Ended up using two of the 0.3mm shims just at the front there of the arm. I did originally have 3 in, but that turns out to be too tight once the holder was, the top shock tower was screwed in place. But with 2 shims, there's only a tiny little bit of play, and they're still nice and free. Whereas with 3, they were starting to bind. Alright, next step. Okay, knuckles coming together. I decided to try these old, I don't know if they're MO3 drive shafts. Well, they're not really drive shafts, they're just a shaft to hold the wheel. Instead of using the actual one that has the cup on it, like that. And also using, as I said, different ball studs. These are some Kosho ones, 4.8mm. Same size, but as I said, everyone seems to have slop with the standard Tamiya ones. So I'm going to try these and see if it gets rid of it. Also got the lower arms on the front. They just required one washer, in there to reduce the slop, and that seems to be nice. Okay, and here's the steering unit, ball raced of course, and with me having the tap, these screws I've heard people have had some problems with no issue going in. Alright, so I'll do the back one, which is basically this but locked in place, and get them installed on the car. Okay, here's most of the chassis finished. Just got to assemble the oil shocks and put them on, and install the radio gear and body posts. Get it finished up, and then we'll be back with the finished chassis. Okay, and here's the chassis pretty much finished. All it's got to do now is put the body posts on, but apart from that, it's ready to go. I've actually already had it out for one quick test run just to make sure that everything works and everything drives. The CVA shocks come out really nice on it, feel nice and plush. The battery box, been up the high mount, and it's nice that the second lot of screw holes that are here, you mount that, it moves all these two in, and you can mount a shorty pack, which I don't have a normal size shorty pack. I've only got some low profiles for the race car, but I will be looking at getting another just normal shorty pack for this car to reduce a bit of the weight. But from the quick test run, it ran really well. There's that high-tech servo, if you've seen the last video, you know about that. Using fly style radio, and you do have to get your own speed controller for this car. I still had a TBLE 02S that I had lying around from an old car that I never used. So that's going on. So next video, get the body done and mounted and give it its first proper run with the shell on. And then after that, I'll be doing a video of what upgrades and what the improvements made on this car, and also a couple other improvements that I've already noticed that I want to change, especially with this rear end. So hit that subscribe button if you want to see what else I'm going to do with this BT-01, and I'll see you in the next video.